my glasses to show the glare, but it's part of the bit, okay? It's also part of the fit. Yo, what up, Marvel movie mongerers? Well, I don't know if you guys are, but I am, okay? Sorry I've been away so long, guys. I was obviously busy, and I'll tell you one of the things I was busy with. It was watching all the Marvel movies from beginning to end in chronological order, all right? So here's the thing, like, so many years ago, I watched Spider-Man Homecoming, and I was like, oh my god. You know, when he got put into the Avengers and stuff, right? Like a little bit, like not officially, right? I was like, oh my god, I get the freaking excitement. Like, I love that he became an Avenger. I want to become an Avenger. And I was like, holy shit, I get the hype about the MCU, right? And so I was like, okay, one day I'm going to watch all these Marvel movies in order, you know, and it's going to be great and it's going to be beautiful. And I'm going to be so excited. And that was like four years ago. So I finally got around to watching them. I started on January 6th and watched the like 20 movies, okay, in the last few weeks here, including the new Spider-Man, No Way Home. This is real annoying, isn't it? I'm actually here to honestly just like gush about the Marvel movies for God knows how long, okay? It's basically me reviewing the Marvel Cinematic Universe movies Phase 1, Part 1, okay? Because when I get talking, boy do I get talking. Yeah. So in today's video specifically, we'll be reviewing Captain America, the First Avenger, Captain Marvel, Iron Man, and Iron Man 2. And then we shall move on to the others in the next video. So if you're into Marvel movies, heck yeah, you know, watch the video. If you're not, maybe you want to know. Maybe you want to know if they're worth watching. Unfortunately, I'm going to give you spoilers, so like don't, like if you're like not looking for spoilers, don't watch it, okay? But yeah, maybe you'll just like get inspired and excited, you know, through seeing my excitement, and then you'll want to watch them. So let's do it. But before we get started, please make sure you hit subscribe, because guess what, guys? We are at like 919 subscribers, okay? And that is simply 81 away from 1,000, okay? That's the current goal. And I'm gonna be YouTube, well, I can apply to be a YouTube partner. I don't know if they're gonna accept me. I don't know how it works, okay? But if that happens, I have more incentive to make videos more often, okay? And that's what you want, I assume, you know? So please, subscribe, and then, you know, have a good time. Thanks. Okay, guys, so the first movie, Captain America, the First Avenger. Now, I get this because, damn, Captain America, you are something else, let me tell ya, okay? I mean, Chris Evans. I mean, Steve Rogers. I mean, what's happening? Whoa, okay, anyway. Refocus. Okay, so, you know, initial thoughts, like, basically, you know, Steve Rogers is a guy who has a best friend, Bucky Barnes, and they're both trying to get into the army, and Bucky is just, like, so supportive of Steve, you know, like, they have such a good friendship. They're best friends, right? And we love a good bromance duo. I mean, come on, you know, what more can you ask for in a movie? 10 out of 10 movie right there, because it has a bromance. This movie takes place during World War II, I believe, when they're recruiting people to go into the war, okay? And Steve Rogers is trying to apply for the war. He just has this intrinsic need to want to fight for his country, and they have repeatedly not accepted him into the war, okay? They've told him that he's too weak and he, you know, it's not gonna happen for him, bud. You know, that's what they said. Just kidding, I don't know what they said. But he just keeps trying, you know, and he just has the heart, you know, like he just wants to do it so badly. And honestly, my first thing was like, I'm like, what? I thought they just accepted anybody, like any man. If you want to go into the war and you want to fight, they'll take you. You know what I mean? But apparently they're kind of selective in this movie. Okay. The other thing was that, as we see the events of this movie start to happen, where, the storyline is that they are actually looking for somebody to, inject with special powers, so that they can have like this secret weapon during the war, okay, in the United States or whatever. And I think it's like, I'm just gonna put it out there that it's kind of cool that, like, World War II was a thing that happened in obviously our universe on this earth. And I kind of like the parallels that, like, it existed in this Marvel Cinematic Universe as well, but in their world, there's a such thing as superpowers, and it happened this way in their world, in their universe. So I don't know. I just thought that was a cool world setting, strategy, whatever. I don't know. Okay, so someone sees him at some war convention and, finally accepts him into the program. He watches him have an interaction and he, like, sees something in him, right? Some potential. So then we see him going through, like, the training for war, etc., etc. And quite frankly, he sucks at most of it, but he's smart, okay? And more importantly, he has a good heart, okay? This scene, I like literally cried, like, when he jumped over the grenade and protected everyone around him. Like, okay.
Is this a test?
So you can see the fragility of my mind and my mental health when I was watching these movies already off the bat. I'm like 20 minutes in and I'm already crying. No, I'm just kidding. But no, it's true. It happened. And so, I think that really sealed the deal for him and that guy who's choosing who gets to get the serum in them. And so then he gets ejected and he's, well, look at him. He's freaking gorgeous, So you get one look and you're like, okay. But okay, yeah, but also, I'm actually curious though, like, I didn't know what to think, but are these the same actors? Like, they literally can't be. But if they're not the same actors, then the casting people did a really good job. Because, like, that could literally be Chris Evans, but, like, CGI'd onto a smaller body and a little bit skinnier face, honestly. Let me see. No, it's actually him. It's actually him. There's like you can read, there's apparently an article that says how they made Chris Evans skinny. That's amazing. That's really cool. And, like, if they can do that sort of thing, there's no excuse anymore, to have bad casting and have someone that doesn't look like the proper person and stuff, Okay, anyway, we go into the wars. He's doing amazing things. He's making, strong choices and stuff like that. Eventually, first he's like just a poster child for war. But anyway, and so yeah, and then, like, they have this, like, sick battle scene in the train, and it's all fine and dandy. Oh yeah, because there's a bad guy and they're trying to get the serum. As per usual, someone's trying to steal the recipe for disaster, okay? So they're fighting. Bucky dies. Very sad, okay? He falls down into the mountains, cliffs, or whatever, and Steve doesn't jump after him to save him, okay? Impossible thing to have done? I don't think so. Personal choice? Maybe. Maybe he didn't know he was capable of it. Could be. I don't know. Okay, yeah, and then basically they win the fight, as per usual. But it's not a happy ending exactly, because then Steve Rogers ends up crashing into the Arctic somewhere and ends up being asleep for like 70 years and they find him later. Okay, when, like, it's like setting up the next movie or whatever. Which, like, I mean, it was good because it's like sometimes unbelievable, let's say, when things always end on a happy note with no problems whatsoever. So I think it was a good choice to, like, kill off Bucky and, like, have Steve Rogers go and crash somewhere. Like, you can't just keep using him for the next 70 years, with no consequences. you know, or like, you know, like that's just like, that's too easy. That's too easy, you know? So yeah, I think it was a good choice. Overall, like, I liked the movie, I liked the storyline. I thought it was entertaining. I thought the action sequences, I thought they were quite good actually. And I don't typically find war movies interesting, so, you know, for me to find this interesting was obviously a good thing, right? And people of YouTube, am I allowed to rate the movie higher just because I'm highly attracted to the male lead? Is that a thing? Is that what people base movie reviews off of? Is it? I don't know. Good casting? Call it good casting? I'll call it that. Yeah, that's how I felt about Captain America, the First Avenger, and I really liked it, okay? And I was like, yeah, I'm down. Let's see what other superheroes come out of the mix here, you know? Like, let's see what happens when this man wakes up, you know? Also, I started doing this thing when I was watching all these movies where I started tweeting, like, my favorite quote from the movie or, like, my favorite moment, right? And I didn't do it for this one, but I can safely say, like, let's just, like, chalk it up to my favorite scene or moment being when he does jump over the grenade. Let's call it that for now, okay? Though I'm sure there were some good lines between, like, him and Peggy and, you know, and et cetera, but I'm not gonna go and rewatch the entire movie all over again just to give you guys a tweet, okay? But I'm pretty sure I have tweets for the most of the other ones, so it's exciting stuff for sure. All right, next up we have Captain Marvel. So okay, like everyone was telling me that they didn't like this movie. If you go on anything on YouTube or whatever, like people don't like it. It's rated like decently high on Rotten Tomatoes, and obviously I tried to go into it with an open mind, right? Because I'm like, I don't want people to skew this. Like I obviously don't have the same like measures or parameters that I base movie reviews off of, right, as other people. So I'm like, I just wanted to see it for myself and, you know, decide for myself how I felt about it. So, like, personally, I thought this movie was pretty good. I did, okay? I thought it was hilarious. I thought this, because Captain America didn't have that much humor in it. It was, like, generally pretty serious, right? And then moving over to Captain Marvel, it was like a breath of fresh air, just like just I don't know, there's just like this like stale humor the entire time, and I loved it. And like I was reading when I was doing my recaps afterwards that, you know, everyone just seemed to feel that like everyone's just saying they couldn't get past the first like 20 minutes or the first 16 minutes. And I'm like, well, that's the part that you had to get through because the first 20 minutes were like pretty slow, pretty boring. They were kind of just like setting up the like not even the premise. They were just setting up like the I don't know what the they were, it was like not even worth it. It's just setting up like Captain Marvel's like her Carol Danvers relationship, you know, with the people around her and her current situation. Okay, like where we find her today, basically, and who she is, right? And yeah, it's pretty boring. But as soon as we get a little bit into the plot and the premise of this movie, it got pretty interesting. Okay, and even the humor picked up just like that. And so what the story is basically is she's like with the Kree people, and they are enemies of like the Skrulls. And then what happens is like the Skrulls come to Earth, she comes to Earth, there's this whole battle going on, but all of a sudden like the detectives, whatever, yeah, Detective Nick Fury, which is this is the first movie that he's like properly introduced in, and his buddy Phil Coulson, his partner, I guess, right? They get involved by accident now because they're like, who is this person? She just crashed into a blockbuster, you know, like we gotta do something about it. We gotta chase her down. She's public enemy number one. Until they realize that she's telling the truth about the Skrulls because Nick Fury sees it for himself. So now, like, there's a bit of like, you know, clashing heads, bashing heads. I don't know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say though. Butting heads. That's what I'm saying. Like, you know, finally he comes around and they're working together, you know, and it's all fine and dandy. I thought the fight scene in the I guess it's like an archive or whatever. I don't really know. It's like an archive. I don't know. The fight scenes in there were pretty interesting, and that's what I'm talking about. Is there was a little bit of back and forth where like we're like, wait, is Carol like is she helping him? Is he gonna shoot her? Who's on whose side? Is that a Skrull? Is that not a Skrull?
Snap out of it.
Because they can like morph, they can like shapeshift into people, right? So then they're like they're morphed into people who, like, they're confusing Nick Fury and Carol Danvers by pretending that there's somebody else that they know, like other detectives and stuff, right? And also, Brie Larson does not look like a Carol, okay? I just hate that type of thing. I mean, obviously she had to have this name, so it just is unfortunate, but just thought I'd let you guys know how I feel about that. I thought Flurkins were pretty hilarious, and the Skrulls being afraid of them and stuff, and just kind of the just that bit, you know what I mean? It was kind of like, it was like cute and fun. Anything related to animals is cute and fun. Yo, I knew from the beginning this Jan Rog guy was whack. Okay, like he was just like unnecessarily like controlling. Do you know what I mean? And now, you know, it all makes sense why, right? It's because he is a bad guy, and he wants her to keep, you know, she lost her memory. He wants her to keep under the impression that they are the good people, okay? So yeah, my overall impression is that, like, once you just get past the first 20 minutes and just like commit, you know, to the actual storyline and watching this movie, it is actually quite entertaining. I think people would actually enjoy it if they gave it the chance that it deserves, okay? How do I feel about Brie Larson? I don't know. How do I feel about her in the interviews that she does? I don't know. But also, have I seen any other interviews of her, or do I know anything else about her? No. So, I don't know. She comes off a little bit whack to me.
No, thanks for dumping on me.
No, you're fine.
But, yeah, I don't know. She did a fine job. Also, like, did they even call her Captain Marvel, like, a single time in this movie? I don't think so. I think they talked about where Marvel comes from, like Marvel or whatever, but like, wow. And finally, time for my tweeted quote from Captain Marvel.
Turn into a cat?
What's a cat?
What about a filing cabinet?
Why would I turn into a filing cabinet?
Alrighty, and on to the third movie in the MCU chronological order, which is Iron Man. And yes, I'd never seen a single Iron Man till the year 2022, if you can believe it. So in this movie, RDJ is going over to some camp to do some press release thing or something. Who knows? I don't know. He's making jokes in a van with his buddies, okay? By the way, RDJ playing Tony Stark, who is actually Howard Stark's son. Howard Stark was in Captain America: The First Avenger. He was part of the whole history of whatever, helping in the war. He was the smart guy, okay? One of them. And yeah, and basically, you know, bad guy explodes him, stuff happens, and then he realizes it's his own weapons that injured him like this. So, you know, like, he's being held captive with a scientist who's actually helping him recover, and blah blah blah. They figure all this stuff. He escapes, but unfortunately the other guy does not make it out, and you know, because he sacrifices himself to help Tony Stark escape. And this is where we see the Iron Man suit for the first time, you know, the first prototype, let's call it. Through this near-death experience, he has this revelation, you know, this he wants to do better, so he's gonna actually stop his company, Stark Industries, from producing weapons and selling them to, you know, enemies and that sort of thing. So that's like it's like a cool, you know, character development, right? Forget what that's called. Dynamics or something. Whatever. Hope you guys are enjoying my super technical review of this movie and all the others, okay? This movie's cool because they're hot.
Somebody stop me!
But and RDJ, you know, he hot too. He hot. His hair, a little bit whack, but I think it was like 2008 when this movie came out, so it makes sense. So anyway, yeah, like, he's trying to tell his buddy, you know, Stain or whatever is his last name, and actually worked with his father too, like, you know, was a CEO with him or whatever. And he's like, Stain's like, you know, he's evil and he's manipulative and he's trying to convince Tony Stark to not, you know, do that, because he obviously has some stakes in this. He makes money off of people buying their weapons, right? So that kind of sets up the whole plot here, is that this guy's a little bit evil. There's now we've got enemies on the you know, in the war zones type of thing, like, because Stain is like selling to those guys. But the Stain guy, he's evil. He's evil, bro. Like, there's so much more to it than just like not wanting Tony Stark to be a part of this deal. Like, he's looks like he enjoys killing people and torturing people, okay? But whatever. And having power. He looks like he's on a perpetual power trip, okay? But he hides it decently well. Tony Stark's got his assistant, you know, Pepper Potts, played by Gwyneth Paltrow. And to be honest, I hate this character so much. I hate her so much, okay? Like, you couldn't choose a better person to be your love interest, bud, okay? Or even your assistant, okay? Like, she can handle all the menial day-to-day tasks just fine. But then, you know, he asks her to do anything that requires a little bit of, you know, puts a little bit of pressure on her. And then she's completely useless. Like, so annoying, okay? Like, when she's trying to pull the thing out of his chest and not, he's like, it's like playing Operation. And she just, she touching everything, you know what I mean? And I'm like, huh? Why? It's not that hard, I don't think. But whatever. What do I know? You know? Just played Operation. I'm just kidding. I just played a children's game. No. And then, like, I mean, of course, like, Tony Stark figures it out because Stain actually comes into his house to try and kill him, you know, and pulls out this thing that's keeping Tony Stark alive that they put into him, you know, when he almost died in the cave in Afghanistan. So anyway, fights happen, okay, etc., etc. Stain gets a hold of the old suit, the original one, but like makes it a little, like, you know, he upgrades it a little bit, and it's quite scary, it's quite daunting, it's humongous, you know what I mean? And it's like you're a little bit scared a little bit when he walks out and he's like hiding in the shadows, like it's like pretty terrifying. Anyway, so him and Tony, you know, a battle ensues, and they're on top of this like highly explosive place, right? And Tony Stark knows that in defeating him, he's gonna have to blow up this entire place, or it's gonna get quite, you know, dangerous to be around there. So he's like, Pepper, you need to leave when I tell you to leave. Like, you need to exit the building. You need to dip when I give you the signal, okay? And whatever, she finally understands what, you know, he's telling her. And then the moment comes, and he's like, Pepper, leave. And then she's like, oh, and then he's like, Pepper, leave. And then she's like, but, and then he's like, Pepper, get the hell out. And she's just like, and I swear to God, she didn't even leave. Like, I kind of forget now, but like, pretty sure. Like, it didn't actually show her leave, first of all, but then somehow she came out unscathed at the end, okay? But like, bro, it's just simple. It's like, oh, I remember one of the things she said. She was like, but you're gonna, like, I don't know, she was like worried about him or some shit, but it's like, dude, just get the hell out, man. It's like simple math. Like, he's wearing a suit, and a suit made of iron or something, and you're just you're a normie, okay? You're gonna get hurt. So get out of there. He told you get out of there, okay? Like, it all makes sense, and you still standing there, you know? Pepper Potts. And then I had this weird thing. This is kind of unrelated to the movie, but I was kind of curious who the brown guy playing like the terrorist was. Like the Raza was his name or whatever. Because I feel like I've seen him in other like Bollywood movies, and I wanted to know if he was in Bollywood movies. So I like went to go find him, and I think I just have I got issues with the way Wikipedia lists their cast, man. Like, I had to scroll so far just to find this guy. Like, I thought maybe he'd be listed in like chronological order, or like you know, like who shows up in what order type of thing, or like number of scenes and importance, because like obviously the most important character is always listed first, right? Like, it's obviously RDJ is gonna be the first person you see, but like I had to scroll and scroll and scroll to the point where I was like, am I even looking up the right movie? Okay, because even the news reporter, who had probably about 5 lines in the entire movie, was like way ahead of this guy. Like, she was listed like 5th, and I'm like, how? But I don't know. I don't know what the hell they basing that stuff off of, but, you know, I call racism. Just kidding. And they also listed the person who plays Rhodey, but like in Iron Man 2. And sorry, that's like Captain Rhodes or whatever, right? He's not even in this movie. And it listed him before it listed the terrorist guy. Huh? Anyway, it was like really annoying when I was trying to look it up. Okay, yeah, and then he beats the bad guy, whatever, he does whatever. Iron Man. And we get to the end of the movie, and they're just telling him what to say during the press, release, because they're like, who's this Iron Man? What's going on? And they're like, all right, just say, like, we don't know what's going on, like, or whatever. They just tell him not to reveal his identity, right? And he goes out there, and he just, like, he pulls, like, the sickest move ever, which is revealing his identity, but like a boss. Do you know what I mean? Like, he was like, I am Iron Man.
I am Iron Man.
And everyone's like, and I was like, holy shit, I'm throwing dishes and stuff, you know what I mean? I was like, whoa, that's sick. What's gonna happen next? Yeah, so anyway, my overall impression is that I did enjoy the movie. I thought it was a cool storyline. We love to see Howard Stark's son, continuing the Stark legacy, and see what his journey is all about. And obviously, RDJ and Tony Stark, very intelligent, charismatic people that we love to watch, right? So yeah, I mean, like, no qualms really with this movie except for Pepper Potts, but what can you do, right? I don't know. And this movie, I did not tweet a quote either, which is just unbelievable, okay? However, favorite moment? So I went back and I found my favorite moment from the movie. So here it is.
What?
Is that the night you're talking about?
Mm-hmm.
All right, next up we have Iron Man 2. And in this movie, Iron Man is slowly dying because of the thing in his chest. It's made of palladium or whatever, and he's getting palladium poisoning. So that kind of sets up one issue. And the second, not little plot, it's got the main plot of the movie, is that, a Russian scientist who used to work with Howard Stark and kind of got screwed over by Howard Stark, he dies, and his son ends up kind of like seeking revenge on Tony Stark, because now everyone knows who Tony Stark is. And so anyway, because Tony Stark knows he's dying, he hands off his company to Pepper Potts, which makes no freaking sense. I don't know why you would just give your assistant your company, but I guess they have some sort of trust, some deep trust, and he knows that she can do the job. And you know what? Because movies are movies, she's probably gonna do the job with flying colors, even though she has crippling anxiety. Like, I personally would not give somebody with crippling anxiety the position of CEO of my company, but to each their own, man. So anyway, through all this, whatever, we also have Natasha Romanoff, Scarlett Jo's character introduced for the first time, and we have Happy Hogan come in. I don't think I saw him in the other movies, and he just happens to be, like, I don't know, like Tony's best friend and confidant and security guard or whatever. And he seems to keep getting promoted. It's like a running bit in the movies. This freaking scene, okay? Like, all he's asking for is his stupid briefcase that has his Iron Man suit in it, okay? And Tony Stark's like, he's like, throw me the briefcase. And she's like, huh, huh, huh. And he's like, throw me the briefcase. And she's like, huh, huh. And he's like, Pepper, throw me the briefcase. And she's like, huh, huh. And then I swear to God, she doesn't even freaking throw. I think they like get hit by something and then it falls out or something. Like, what the hell, bro? Is this supposed to be funny? Is it supposed to be entertaining? Is it supposed to make things more intense? I don't know, maybe it did. Maybe it did. I was seething, so obviously it was more intense in my freaking living room, okay? But I don't understand why you wouldn't put this as a character choice for this person. Like, obviously everybody's gonna have flaws, okay? You can have flaws, but I, like, just don't understand. I just don't understand. Besides, like, Tony Stark must have fallen in love with her right at the beginning, bro, because how are you gonna keep somebody like that employed? I guess they were never in these situations before, though. Like, I guess he wasn't having these, like, high intensity situations, like, high stakes where he's in the middle of a battle. I guess they'd never seen anything like this before. Yeah, maybe that's a context I should have thought of before. But, still really annoying. Tony Stark ends up getting wasted at a party because he thinks he's dying and stuff, and you know, Captain Rhodes and Pepper Potts are like super annoyed and like getting kind of like worried, you know, and they're like, this is getting a bit out of hand. And instead of just like trying a teeny bit harder to get, you know, Tony Stark to stop his party, even though yes, he's wearing the Iron Man suit and he could destroy them, he wouldn't, obviously. Okay. Rhodes decides to go steal one of his suits, put it on, and then fight him in the house. Okay. Because that must be the only solution. For that's how men solve their problems, I guess, you know. Yeah, so anyway, like, I don't know, it does end up stopping the party, obviously, because people are having to evacuate the house now. And for some reason, Rhodes takes off with the suit, okay? So now he has this suit, which, you know, ends up getting, like, kind of exploited by the bad guys, and Rhodes has no idea, because he just is that character for some odd reason in this movie. By the way, I was also really annoyed when I, like, saw that they replaced Terrence Howard or whatever as Rhodes, and I was like, you can't just do that. Like, he made that character, you know, and gave him a certain type of, you know, well, character, and then gets replaced, and I just hate that, right? But I found out it's because he asked for more money than RDJ, and hell, that's a good enough reason if I ever heard one for recasting somebody. So by all means. Because Tony Stark ends up finding like something of his dad's, and it ends up being a like a molecule, like a new element that hasn't been discovered yet. And so he ends up like synthesizing the element or whatever, and uses that to now replace his palladium, you know, heart basically. And that solves all his problems, and they, you know, obviously beat the bad guy, and it's all fine and dandy, okay? So they're having the final battle, and Tony Stark and Rhodes are both fighting the bad guy, and that's great. Good job, teamwork, you know, and it makes things a little bit different from the first movie, which is nice. And yeah, they're fighting it out, and everything's like, well, it's not going great, but like the bad guy has like the upper hand for a minute or whatever, and he like takes off his helmet for some reason. And then like, I don't know why, he doesn't even say anything in that moment, okay? And then like Rhodes and Tony Stark do this thing where they like shoot both their like, you know, things at each other, which creates a, you know, big explosion right between them, which is where the bad guy's standing, right? And it's all fine and dandy, but it's like hilarious because like maybe you wouldn't have died if you kept your stupid helmet on, or like, you know, not have been in such bad shape. But I don't know, like I just always think it's so weird when people like open up their weak point like right in time to like be hit. Like I don't know, it just was weird. Like it's like you didn't even have any like final words, you know, like maybe you wanted to remove it for your final words, but like people can still hear you, you know what I mean? Kind of reminds me of how people remove their masks for no reason just to say things, and I'm like, I can still hear you, but I don't have earmuffs on my ears. I can still hear you through your mask, you know? But hey, what do I know? So anyway, my overall impression of Iron Man 2 is that it was also enjoyable. You know, we just get to see Tony Stark continuing to make progress in his work, which is great. You know, good job. I'm so happy for you. And still, you know, charming and entertaining, which is just fine. I think I probably liked Iron Man 1 better. Iron Man 2 just seemed kind of like there wasn't necessarily anything too wild, you know, or wildly exciting that happened. You know, it just like yeah, maybe, you know, Rhodes has the suit now and stuff, but it's like otherwise it's like it could have just, it's like nothing happened. Man, I didn't do it for Iron Man 2 either. So this is my favorite scene that I did not tweet about. Enjoy.
What is and always will be my greatest creation is you.
Okay guys, so like I said, that was going to be part 1 of the phase 1 of the review of the Marvel Cinematic Universe series, okay? So, yeah, I enjoyed all of them. I enjoyed Captain America, First Avenger, and Steve Rogers is hot, and Captain Marvel was really funny, and Iron Man 1 was great, and Iron Man 2 was good. okay? And also, I wanted to ask you guys, like, not even ask, but here's the thing. I just want to be an Avenger so freaking bad, and after watching all these movies, like, I started creating my own origin story and stuff, you know? And like, what I'll do is throughout these reviews, I'll just like give you snippets of my journey. Okay, so originally I was like, okay, maybe I'm like a chemistry teacher and a chemistry experiment goes wrong and then I get superpowers, you know? But then I was like, wait, or I could just be a pharmacist, like, or a chemist where an experiment goes wrong. I mean, I'm literally already that. Why do I have to become a teacher now? You know what I mean? So okay, so I'm a chemist, I'm a scientist, or even, hey man, even what if I touch some new drug by accident, and well, what if the Pfizer vaccine gave me superpowers? God, please everyone stop. Please, that's a joke, okay? That's not what's gonna happen. People watch too many movies. I swear to God, people think that the vaccines are trying to kill people because of Amazing Spider-Man, okay? Because that guy was trying to release this thing over the entire earth and make them into lizards. Is that what everyone's basing this off of? Cause stop. Anyway, so that's part of what I'm thinking what my origin would be. Tell me if you guys have ever like gotten so excited about this thing that you started creating your own origin stories, or like writing stories, or anything that Marvel inspired you to do. Please drop it in the comments. I want to hear about it, and I want to know what you guys think so far of my origin story, okay? And then next time I'll reveal what my powers could be and how I feel about the entire situation, etc., etc. Okay? So yeah, anyway, like, subscribe, comment, let's have a discussion, and I'll see ya for phase 1, part 2. Bye.